What's going on, Andreas Kreidler's Funtime fam? The Andreas Kreidler's Funtime crew back here with another video on Andreas Kreidler's Funtime. I'm Ronnie, I'm German, I'm Bouncer, and I'm Foxy Pad. Alright, today we will be doing a new trend on the Andreas Kreidler's Funtime channel of sentencing villains for their crimes. And in particular, today we will be sentencing the Lion King villains. So these will basically be villains from the timeless classic film, The Lion King. And you guys are probably all familiar with that, so there's no need to go into detail of what it's about. Alright, well, with that out of the way, I hope you all can get excited. Grab your popcorn, because it's time to sentence villains from The Lion King for their crimes. Alright, now before we get started, I know some of you may not be familiar with this term, so before we get into it, alright, we'll go over okay, what is sentencing villains for their crimes? And of course, our way, it's basically going to be kind of on the same boat as how other YouTubers or people have done it. Okay. Sentencing villains for their crimes is a popular trend where we theorize that villains from franchises, especially ones that die, survive their fates and end up in a literal courtroom. Today, we will be sentencing villains from the Lion King franchise, excluding the Lion Guard and the 2019 live-action film for their crimes. And before we get started, just wanted to say, fans, I'd like you all to follow along with this. There's going to be some important info. Alright. Ronnie Raccoon is our bailiff for today's sentencing. Alright, Bailiff Ronnie says, "Order! All rise!" This is case number 1994, County in the Meadows, sentencing the Lion King villains for their crimes. As far as this morning, you may be seated. Folks, you may now have a seat. Alright, now with that out of the way, we are ready to sentence the Lion King villains for their crimes. Alright, up first on the sentencing list, we have Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed. Alright, Miss Shenzi, Mr. Banzai, and Mr. Ed. You three hyenas are convicted and sentenced for the following charges: aiding and abetting, by working with each other to commit your schemes, and by serving Scar. Attempted murder. Okay, well, now fair enough, Simba and Nala did trespass on your territory, but it still doesn't make it right you tried to kill them, especially as Simba was Mufasa's son. Assault and battery. Literally boiling Zazu and a burning geyser seriously, what is that? Regicide. Though Scar was legitimately king, and also guilty of this crime, ultimately Scar was holding a position of power, so that does make you guilty of that. Alright, now telling up the circumstances and the severity of the crimes, we will be sentencing Shenzi, Banzai, and Ed to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Safe to say, guys, that these three hyenas will be spending the rest of their lives behind a cage, and yeah, pretty safe to say also that they probably won't be leaving anytime soon. Alright, now next on the sentencing list, we have Nuka. Alright, Mr. Nuka, you are hereby convicted and guilty of the following charges: aiding and abetting. Well, okay, I mean, I know you were trying to impress your mother, but you need to know she is doing something wrong, and is the follower of someone who was a villain. Child negligence. You may be a child yourself, but don't ever abuse your siblings ever again. Attempted child murder. Don't ever try to murder someone, especially a child, ever again. Attempted regicide, by attempting to help kill Simba, who was holding a position of power. And with that out of the way, given the level of the crimes, and also the age of Nuka, we will be sentencing Nuka to 40 years imprisonment with parole eligibility in at least half of the sentence. Well, yeah, the crimes were pretty severe, but consider this: he was just trying to impress his mother, even if his mother was kind of doing something wrong. But I mean, don't consider this. It's not like he actually killed anyone, but it's still, he was an accomplice in the end, so just Safe to say he does need to have quite some prison time, but hey, at least it doesn't cut off parole though. Alright, now we are going to be sentencing Nuka's sister, Vitani. Alright, Miss Vitani, you are hereby convicted and sentenced for the following charges. Attempted regicide, by trying to kill Simba who holds a position of power. Aiding and abetting, by working with your mom to avenge Scar's death and kill Simba. I mean, seriously unfortunate that you were born into such a bad family. Conspiracy to usurp the throne. Don't ever support evil schemes ever again. I mean, consider this. I mean, Vitani did redeem herself in the end. That she did go with Simba. So, I mean, yeah, but, again, just sentencing villains, yeah, that doesn't excuse what they did. Well, even though she did redeem herself, because of the crime she did, safe to say that we will be sentencing Vitani to the same sentence as her brother. 40 years imprisonment, with parole eligibility in at least half of the sentence. The fact that she literally went so far as to almost usurp the throne, literally, that could have easily handled her life imprisonment. But the fact that she did redeem herself, that is what ultimately saves her from life imprisonment or even capital punishment. Alright, up next now on the sentencing list, we have Zira. Alright, Miss Zira. Well, most notably being the main antagonist in the Lion King sequel and being the secondary antagonist overall, you are hereby sentenced and guilty of the following charges. Attempted regicide. Literally, trying to kill Simba and you continue supporting Scar even after he's dead. Come on, what is that? Child abuse. What kind of mother are you abusing your children and even influencing them that wrong is right? Literally, you're part of why your children ended up down this such horrible path. Attempted usurpation. Don't ever try to usurp the throne without being properly next in line ever again. And conspiracy to usurp the throne, commit regicide, and basically all other said crimes as part of your revenge. Seems like Zira definitely was on the side of villainy, given that she still remained extremely loyal to Scar even after his well-deserved death. So, given the circumstances of this evil lioness, we will be sentencing Zira to capital punishment by burning at the stake. Well, I'm sure you can imagine when she drowned, she kind of chose that. Kion literally tried to save her, but then she just said, I'm good. At the same time, she kind of was admitting that she didn't deserve to live, but, well, after what she did, safe to say that I think she should definitely get something much worse than just drowning. Alright, and now last, but not least, on our sentencing list for today of the Lion King villains, we have the big bad guy himself, Scar. Alright, Mr. Scar, whose real name actually turns out to be Ascari. Well, given that Scar is the main antagonist, it would make sense that he probably has a whole bucket of crimes on his list. Alright, Scar, let's see what we'll be sentencing you for today. You are hereby sentenced and guilty of the following charges. Regicide, literally killing and betraying your own brother Mufasa, who was holding a position of power. Usurping the throne. Of course, it was pretty clear what Scar intended with killing Mufasa. He wanted to kill Mufasa so that he could usurp the throne and become king of the Pride Lands. Starving. Don't ever overhunt and leave everyone to starve once there is literally no food left in the Pride Lands. Come on, what kind of guy is that? It would have been one thing if he was still doing a good job as king, but literally, it turned out that all Scar wanted as king was just so that he could boss everyone around. Pretty clear that once Scar found out being a king was real work on his part, then let's just say that he refused to help out. Conspiracy to commit nepoticide and mass murder. You literally intended on killing your nephew Simba and anyone else that got in your way. It made sense. Simba was literally next in line to the throne once he was born. So, Scar couldn't let that get in his way. But it's still adding up to the charges. Mass murder. Killing many animals, especially as Mufasa stated above. And I think you get what I mean by when I say mass murder. I am referring to when Scar overhunted in the Pride Lands, which is why it literally just turned into a barren wasteland and why literally it was unsurvivable. And finally, high treason. The above said crimes add up to this one. And with all the crimes Scar did, and given how evil he was, and also safe to say that he has no remorse for his crimes, like not even the slightest bit. So given all that, we will be sentencing Scar to public execution. Uh-oh, seems like we ran into a little glitch. But don't worry, we're back though. Alright, now back to where we were. Alright, so we were about to hand Scar the sentence for his crimes. Given his lack of remorse, the fact that he killed Mufasa, and the fact that he literally left an entire pride to starve and drained out the whole Pride lands, we will be sentencing Scar to public execution by firing squad. I mean, consider this, like, Scar literally was eaten alive by the hyenas at the end, so, like, firing squad wouldn't really be that different. The only difference is, like, instead of being eaten by hyenas, like, Scar will literally just die being shot by a bunch of people. And with that, court is now adjourned. Bailiff Ronnie Raccoon says, parties are now excused. You may now step out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe on your way out. And with that, it's Ronnie, German, Bouncer, and Foxy Pad saying until the next video, stay strong, everyone. Bye.